So in the brief 10-minute reprieve that we had, we learned something. I don't have the notes for where we're at in 2 Samuel. We're going rogue, as Robbie says, and she's probably gonna retouch on this because we're gonna miss some things or deep dive into some things. But we are in 2 Samuel 15, and we're gonna start in verse 6, and we're just gonna kind of break it down verse by verse and talk about it, things that we come across. And I got David here with me, so if he comes up with something or it hits him different, Teresa, we're gonna throw our minds together and work through it. So, flying by the seat of my pants. I know we are in trouble, but it's okay. God's got us. That's all that matters. We're gonna figure it out. Okay, so picking up at verse 6. Well, to give a little bit of a recap, because I had to watch the rest of last week. So, Absalom was away for 5 years. Joab gives him back, puts him in his hut by himself, says, listen, basically on house arrest, you can't go anywhere, you can't do nothing, you're going to stay here. Well, Absalom wants to talk to his dad, wants to get an audience, wants to, at least sit down and have a conversation with David. But he can't just do that because David's the king. So he confronts Joab, which the more and more I read it, the more and more I think, Joab was running. Hi, Barb.
Hey.
Joab was by the skin of his teeth, just kind of trying to stay in David's good graces. And he screwed up once with the woman, putting her falsely before David. So he, at this point, is like, listen, I've used one of my 9 lives. I don't have any more at this point. I need to wait to use the rest of them. So you're on your own. Absalom's like, trying to get his attention, good, bad, right, or wrong. He sets his field on fire. Joab's like, why did you do that? I feel like I'm really on a Days of Our Lives episode, so to speak, with David. But we go through all this, and it's to the point now where he's come before David. Did they meet? I can't remember. I'm trying to read. Yes, David did kiss him. Okay, yes, I do remember that. So they did come together, and then he sends him out with these, something happens, because it seems like there's a break, at least on my end, when I read it, because it's like, and it came to pass after this, 15:1, sorry, John. And it came to pass after this that Absalom prepared him chariots and horses and 50 men to run before him. And Absalom rose up early and stood beside the way of the gate, and it was so, that when any man that had a controversy came to the king for judgment, then Absalom called unto him and said, of what city art thou? And he said, thy servant is of one of the tribes of Israel. And Absalom said unto him, see, thy matters are good and right, but there is no man deputed of the king to hear thee. And Absalom said moreover, oh, that I were made judge in the land, that every man which hath any suit or cause might come unto me, and I would do him justice. And it was so, that when any man came nigh to him to do him obeisance, verse 5, obeisance, he put forth his hand and took him and kissed him. So we're in this war. Hi, James.
Hi.
We're flying rogue. I have no notes. I am just reading and we're going.
Sometimes, you know what? Sometimes it's just what you do.
Always.
Let the word of God do the work.
Yeah. So, alright, so in verse 6, it says, and on this manner did Absalom to all Israel that came to the king for judgment. So Absalom stole the hearts of the men of Israel. And it came to pass after 40 years that Absalom said unto the king, I pray thee, I have to turn a page. Apparently, I'm handicapped. Okay. I pray thee, let me go and pay my vow, which I have vowed unto the Lord in Hebron. So, when I was reading this last week, I felt like we may have gone backwards a little bit. But mine doesn't, because it seems like he may have been recalling something, but I'm not. Because at the top of mine it says Absalom deceives David. So I know that Absalom's fixing to, it's fixing to get more soap opera-y, if that makes sense. Hi Diana, we're flying rogue. I have no notes, so we're just breezing as we go.
That Absalom set forth to get to where he's headed now.
Okay.
That, get Joab to get him a thing with the king.
Yeah.
Absalom knew what he was doing.
Yes. But then it's like we went from 5-year period to, and on this manner did Absalom to all Israel that came to the king for judgment. So Absalom stole the hearts of men in Israel. And it came to pass after 40 years. So this has been some time. This is not a...
That's a long time.
40 years is, hey. It's a blink of an eye for some of us. Some of us, 40 is knocking. Just saying.
40 is past.
Way past.
Some of us, 40 is right there, okay?
Yeah.
I'm not going to point out who those some of us are, but...
Some of us are almost twice that.
Yes, we are.
I don't know who, because Leah is what, 25, 26, as she was telling us last week, so...
But he was there in Israel for a long time,
Yeah.
stealing the people, so to speak, in their hearts.
But it also, to me, he's always been a man of the people. He's always been favored by the people. They didn't, which kind of makes me wonder how the words that she said, where she said, hey, and I'm talking about the I want to call her a concubine, but that's not what she was. The actress
Yeah.
that came before David, she said that, the people love him. And so that makes me think, well, maybe, 40 years is a long time.
My note says, most interpreters say that it should read 4 years. David's entire reign was only 40 years. David's entire reign. So Absalom couldn't have been working on this for 40 years.
Could Absalom have been 40 years old?
I don't know.
No, because then that wouldn't track, because 5 years, he wasn't 5 years old when he killed, what's his face?
No, so the 4 years makes a lot more sense.
Mm-hmm.
In, looking at it, 40 years of David's reign, a whole lot of that, had passed before this incident started.
Yeah, 4 years tracks better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could have been 40. It couldn't have, no way it could have been 40.
Because how old would
Because
David
that would have been before David was even king. So, no, that's not gonna work.
Okay, what verse? Okay, hang on.
Somebody in
See, mine says 40 years.
The text
No, it
says
says
40, but the note says it must really mean 4, and a lot of interpreters say that, because his whole reign was 40 years. So Absalom wasn't doing, and David's reign is not even ended
Mhm.
yet, so it couldn't have started before David was even king. So that makes no sense. It could not have been 40 years. No
Mhm.
way.
Typo.
Well, I think it says 40 years, so it means 40 years somewhere, but it doesn't necessarily say that 40 years between then and now.
No, it doesn't.
Right, it doesn't say
I-
that.
Huh.
And maybe it means that, no, never mind. Absalom.
So, okay, so think of it this way too. So, I take it like, and kind of bridging off what Barb said, but so every story that you've ever heard as a child starts out how? Once upon a time. Okay, so if you think of it this way, so this is telling you after 40 years. Okay? When did that start?
Right. I mean,
He
we're
could have
assuming, we just are assuming.
If it's 40 years, it would have had to have started before he was even king. Because
Right.
he's still gonna be king for a little while yet.
Mm-hmm.
So it had to have been way before he was even king. So how?
But it's giving you a point of reference for Absalom. So instead of saying like once upon a time or so to speak, it's giving you that point of after 40 years, meaning this has been some time. Absalom said unto the king, I pray thee, let me go and pay my vow which I have vowed unto the Lord in Hebron.
Well, yeah, let's look at what happened.
Okay, so in verse 8, for thy servant vowed a vow while I abode at Geshur in Syria, saying, if the Lord shall bring me again indeed to Jerusalem, then I will serve the Lord. And the king said unto him, go in peace. So he arose and went to Hebron.
Well, I'm trying to figure that out because his vow was, I will serve the Lord. Why would he go to Hebron? How does that fit in?
I don't know.
And how is he going to serve the Lord there? I'm missing something here.
So was I.
That shows you how we can just read right over it and get our own assumptions of what it's really saying when,
And so we stop and look at, wait a
Yeah.
minute, what?
yeah.
Well, I feel like I'm in history class.
Yeah.
Like
And not that it's wrong, it's
No.
probably our misunderstanding.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to figure out where the piece, why I have disconnect, why I don't
Right.
have
Yeah.
A plus B equals C. So he's wanting to serve the Lord, and then the king said unto him, go in peace. So he arose and went to Hebron. But Absalom sent spies throughout all the tribes of Israel, saying, as soon as ye hear the sound of the trumpet, then ye shall say, Absalom reigneth in Hebron. And with Absalom went 200 men out of Jerusalem that were called, and they went in their simplicity, and they knew not anything. But Absalom sent for Ahithophel? I want to call him antihistamine. Because that's what it reads in my... The Gilonite, David's counselor, from his city, even from Gilo, while he offered sacrifices. And the conspiracy was strong, for the people increased continually with Absalom. So he's conspiring behind Absalom's back. Did I read that correctly? Because he's got this group, this 200 men that are stationed outside Hebron. He calls for the counselor which is a counselor of David, brings him out. And so he's trying, am I reading this correctly?
I'm not sure why he sent for David's counselor.
I don't know. And there came a messenger to David, saying, the hearts of men of Israel are after Absalom. And David said unto all his servants that were with him at Jerusalem, arise and let us flee, for we shall not else escape from Absalom. Make speed to depart, lest he overtake us suddenly, and bring evil upon us, and smite the city with the edge of the sword. So at first when I was reading that, it felt like Absalom was trying to get him to, come save him, it seemed like. But now it seems like David thinks that he's gonna be attacked. That he's under attack. If I could talk today, that would be great. That he's under attack from Absalom. Because it says, make speed to depart, meaning hurry, let's go, pack your essentials, get your go bag, head out. Lest he overtake us and take us suddenly and bring evil upon us and smite the city with the edge of the sword.
Then you go back to, and the conspiracy was strong.
Yeah.
But see, that's why I was thinking he was like, oh, come save me, help, I'm dying. You know what I mean? Because that's what I thought it was at first. For the people increased continually, let's work on words, Lauren, with Absalom.
Okay, so it started off here, Absalom took 200 men with him
Mm-hmm.
and went to Hebron. And there, apparently, he announced that the king reigned, that Absalom reigns. Because, well, he said he would, so apparently that announcement got made. And then more people came to him. He said continually increased, so more people came siding with Absalom. And then a messenger came to David saying the hearts of the men are with Absalom. So like, hey, everybody's turning to
Yeah.
Absalom. You better get out of Dodge.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. So, and the king's servants said unto the king, behold, thy servants are ready to do whatsoever my lord the king shall appoint. And the king went forth, and all his household after him, and the king left 10 women, which were concubines, to keep the house. And the king went forth, and all the people after him, and tarried in a place that was far off. And all his servants passed on beside him, and all the Cherethites, and the Pelethites, and the Gittites, 600 men which came after him from Gath, passed on before the king. Then the king said to Ittai, the Gittite, wherefore goest thou also with us? Return to thy place and abide with the king, for thou art a stranger, and also in exile. What king?
Yeah, the king, David, said to him, return and remain with the king. Well, he's the king, so that doesn't make any sense.
Well, he's also a stranger though, so he's a Gentile. A stranger means Gentile. So maybe he has a king that he serves somewhere.
So he's telling him to go back and not help us.
Yeah.
Hi, Robbie. We're going rogue.
Yeah, I know, I've been following. And the Gittite was from Gath.
Yes.
That was the home
Yeah.
of Goliath.
Right. So,
Okay, my note down here says, David had many loyal non-Israelites in his armed forces. The Gittites from the Philistine city of Gath were apparently friends David had acquired while hiding from Saul.
that's what I was just wondering.
And God had a purpose in David's time being spent there. And those Cherethites and Pelethites, whatever they are, also were from Philistine territory. They were supposed to destroy all those enemies, but apparently it didn't happen.
But it sounds like they were after him, and then they just passed him.
Yeah, I didn't quite
No,
get that. I thought they were with him.
I think passed on before the king. So
Like their
I don't know.
advance party.
Right, like just passed on by him, something, I don't know what that means, but passed on is.
I don't like using this, but I will. What does 2 Samuel 15:7 mean?
Oh, she's asking, I thought she was asking us, and we're all sitting here like, we don't know.
Do you mean 15? King's servants.
Sorry, 15.
19? Is that one of them?
It's thinking.
It's thinking.
Okay, so there's a rebellion going on, is what my Bible app says. It says in 2 Samuel 15:19, the context of the verse is a crucial part of the story where David is fleeing Jerusalem because of his son Absalom's rebellion. The verse reads, Then said the king to the Ittai, the Gittite, Wherefore goest thou also with us? Return to thy place and abide with the king, for thou art a stranger and also an exile. David is speaking to Ittai the Gittite, a foreigner who has recently arrived. David is offering Ittai the choice to stay in Jerusalem and serve Absalom rather than face the hardships of being on the run. David demonstrates kindness and understanding, acknowledging that Ittai's status as a stranger and exile. This reflects David's compassion and leadership, providing Ittai the option to remain where it might seem safer and more beneficial for him at that moment, given the uncertainties ahead.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
Okay, so Absalom is rebelling. He is
Oh, yeah.
gathering people on his side to say, hey, it's time for me to rule, David needs to go. So in verse 20 it says, Whereas thou camest but yesterday, should I this day make thee go up and down with us? Seeing I go whither I may, return thou and take back thy brethren, mercy and truth be with thee. So he's still telling him, hey, I can't force you to come with me. It's not my place. You are a stranger in this land. I'm giving you the option. Get out while you can. Don't.
Yeah, I don't even know where I'm going or what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I can't guarantee you that you're gonna live tomorrow, that you're gonna live the next 12 hours. So you can risk it with me if you want to, or you can go where you know it's safe. So, 21, And Ittai answered the king and said, As the Lord liveth, and as my lord the king liveth, surely in what place my lord the king shall be, whether in death or life, even there also will thy servant be. So Ittai is saying, where you go, I go.
Loyalty. I'm sticking with you.
Yeah. And David said to Ittai, Go and pass over. And Ittai the Gittite passed over, and all his men and all the little ones that were with him. And all the country wept with a loud voice, and all the people passed over. The king also himself passed over the brook Kidron, and all the people passed over toward the way of the wilderness. So, it looks like they tucked tail and ran and hid.
The Hittites went first, and then the people, and then the king.
Which kind of reminds me of how military tactics work. You don't think, most of the time you try to get women and children, everybody out first. To get them to safety, to get those, it's going to take them a while to move. And then everybody else that's, I don't want to say that like they're not important, but they can fight, they can stand and provide a distraction to give them the go-ahead to get out of the way. Kind of, I want
You let the military go first,
to pave the way.
Yeah, pave the way, make it safe.
While everybody else came in behind it. You just can't get the size right, Goldilocks.
Medium, large. I went the next size up. It didn't work.
Okay, so in verse 24 it says, And lo, I don't want to call him Zodiac, but that's not what it is. Listen. Also, and all the Levites were with him, bearing the ark of the covenant of God, and they set down the ark of God, and Abithar, that word, went up until all the people had done passing out of the city. And the king said unto Zadok, whatever, carry back the ark of God into the city. If I shall find favor in the eyes of the Lord, he will bring me again and show me both it and his habitation. So Levites took the ark, like we've read before, out of the city, David said, hey, take it back. Because that's where it's supposed to be, right? Am I getting that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if it's meant that I am to see it again or be with it again, God will show me that way. So now he trusts God. It's a little late.
Yeah, so he wasn't gonna take it with him as a good luck charm like the Israelites had done in the past. and got in
Correct.
trouble. No, it's supposed to be in the temple or the tabernacle, I guess. that
Well,
time.
do it the tabernacle at that time.
Yeah, so it's supposed to be in the tabernacle, take it back to where it belongs.
Mm-hmm. So he didn't take it with him. Okay.
But that shows you where the Levites were, though. The Levites, they were with David, not
David.
with Absalom.
No.
Where the rest of Israel turned against him.
Well, Absalom had rallied his rebellion.
Absalom poisoned all the people against David. That's why he was meeting them at the gate first. And deciding, hey, I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
I'll make sure you get justice. Implying that David won't give you justice.
Now that makes sense. So in verse 26 is, but if he thus say, I have no delight in thee, behold, here I am, let him do to me as seemeth good unto him. And the king said also unto Zadok the priest, Art not thou a seer? Return into the city in peace, and your 2 sons with you, Ahimaaz thy son, and Jonathan the son of Abithar.
My Abiathar.
We're gonna go. See, I will tarry in the plain of the wilderness until there come word from you to certify me. Zadok therefore and
Abiathar.
carried the ark of God again to Jerusalem, and they tarried there. And David went up by the ascent of Mount Olivet, and wept as he went up, and had his head covered, and he went barefoot, and all the people that was with him covered every man his head, and they went up weeping as they went up. So it appears that while David has sent the Levites to take back the ark back into the city, he is realizing he screwed up and is seeking some form of forgiveness, maybe, it seems.
I just thought they were mourning that they were having to leave the city and go into hiding.
Kind of reminds me of like the foreboding sense of him going where Jesus, he knew he was going to die. He knew he was going to be crucified. And when he went into the garden and he prayed and he wept and he cried out, that's what I think of. Kind of reminds me of that. Okay, and so verse 31, and one told David, saying, Ahithophel is among the conspirators with Absalom. And David said, O Lord, I pray thee, turn the counsel of Ahithophel into foolishness. So it's the conspiracy that Absalom is doing has been brought forth to David's eyes. And he's been shown, hey, look, this conspiracy's going on, this person is a part of this conspiracy, and David has basically said, okay, well, because he's part of this conspiracy, that person he's praying against that and saying, God, turn that person to foolishness. May it be bad. So, and it came to pass that when David was come to the top of the mount where he worshipped God, behold, Hushai the Archite came to meet him with his coat rent and earth upon his head. Unto whom David said, If thou passest on with me, then thou shalt be a burden unto me. But if thou return to the city and say unto Absalom, I will be thy servant, O king, as I have been thy father's servant hitherto, so will I now also be thy servant. Then mayest thou for me defeat the counsel of Ahithophel. So basically, it sounds like David gets to the top of the mountain and Hushai, Is that how you say his name?
I don't know.
Verse 32.
Yeah, anyway, he meets this guy.
And it's like he's saying, hey, if you're gonna be with me,
I'm
you
gonna
go,
take care of you.
yeah,
What it sounds like. So he's saying, why don't you go back to Absalom, and that way you don't have to worry about not being taken care of.
And then he goes on to say, you go back and be my guy, just pretend to be loyal to Absalom, but you can work for me.
yeah, it sounds like he's like, hey, I can take care of you, but you're gonna work for me. If you're gonna choose to be with me, you're gonna work for me, and I'm gonna use you as a spy.
Yeah, pretty much that.
Man, we went from soap opera to James Bond in 30 verses. That's what it seems. So, and hast thou not there with thee Zadok and Ab, the priest? Therefore it shall be that what things soever thou shalt hear out of the king's house, thou shalt tell it to Zadok and Ab, the priests. So he's essentially establishing his spy network.
Yeah.
He's gonna say, okay, whatever you see, whatever you come across, whatever you hear, instead of coming to me and telling me, you're gonna tell these two priest guys, these two Levites. Tell them what you heard, tell them what you saw. So he's got his spy.
And then the next verse, they'll tell their sons and they can come to me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the big shots that everybody would think about, but just these little guys that nobody will notice.
Well, and it just goes to show you that David knows that if anybody is attached to him, Absalom's gonna know about it.
Yeah.
So it's a good military tactic that he's using in getting his spy network going. So yeah, so behold, they have there with them their two sons, Ahimaaz, Zodak's son, and Jonathan, Ab's son, and by them ye shall send unto me everything that ye can hear. So Hushai, David's friend, came into the city, and Absalom came into Jerusalem. And when David was a little past the top of the hill, behold, Ziba, the servant of Mephibosheth, I can say that, but I can't say, okay, you know what, moving on. Ziba, the servant of Mephibosheth, met him with a couple of asses saddled, and upon them 200 loaves of bread and 100 bunches of raisins, and 100 bunches of raisins, and 100, I gotta turn a page, of summer fruits and a bottle of wine. And the king said unto Ziba, what meanest thou by these? And Ziba said, the asses be for the king's household to ride on, and the bread and the summer fruit for the young men to eat, and the wine that such as be faint in the wilderness may drink. So he's come across Ziba, which is a servant of Mephibosheth, and he's got all this food, he's got all this fruit, he's got stuff to help take care of them, to get them out of their mess they're in. So he offers it to David, and David says, and the king said, and where is thy master's son? And Ziba said unto the king, behold, he abideth at Jerusalem, for he said, today shall the house of Israel restore me the kingdom of my father.
Wow.
Dun, dun, dun. Is how I feel. So. Then the king said to Ziba, behold, thine are all that pertained unto Mephibosheth. And Ziba said, I humbly beseech thee that I may find grace in thy sight, my lord, O king. So Ziba, realizing what he is saying, is still trying to save his butt a little bit. Did I read that right?
pledging his loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
For what motive, I don't know, but maybe he just really liked him. But at any rate, he's definitely pledging his loyalty.
David seems to have too quickly accepted him in what he said.
I'm sorry, but I'm like you, and I'm sitting here thinking,
Because all of this is just twisting and turning.
Yeah.
that sword that God said it would come upon his house, it's full speed ahead, Captain.
Yeah, it is.
And David's at a point, it's almost like he can't trust anybody.
And I think a lot of kings couldn't.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Most even bad kings couldn't trust anybody,
Mm-hmm.
their own kids.
Well, I think back to Saul and the mind. I mean, he went through turmoil.
Yeah.
I mean, it was when against God, which, you know, he made his bed, he had to lay in it, so to speak. But that's another one, David. But he, in that moment, I mean, he was mad for a long time going against God. So I think it's hard for me to read this and not think, something. I feel like when you're wandering and you're hungry, unless it's God and he deems, I feel like David would know. He wouldn't be like, oh, you know what I mean? A random person shows up with enough donkeys for everybody to ride on, enough food for everybody to eat, enough wine for everybody to drink. Like, I'm running from my life, and a random person, poof, has what I need. Come on. That's
Who is this gift from?
Yes.
Trojan horse. I know that was way after or this happened way before the Trojan horse, but that's what I think of. If something's too good to be true,
It usually is.
it is. My granddad would say, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. So, and when King David came to Bahurim, behold, thence came out a man of the family of the house of Saul, whose name was Shimei. We're going to go with Shimei. I can't call him Shimei. The son of Gera. He came forth and cursed still as he came. So he's maddening. He's nuts. They've arrived. Bahurim. So this is a guy that was part of Saul's people. It says the son of Gera. He came forth and he cursed still as he came. So he's nuts. Maddened like Saul. And as he cast stones at David, and all the servants of King David, and all the people, and all the mighty men were on his right hand and on his left. So this guy is having a mental breakdown, it sounds like.
He might have still been ticked over David taking over after Saul.
Mm-hmm.
And if we could back up a moment to Ziba, my note says, David believed Ziba's charge against Mephibosheth without checking into it or even being skeptical. Don't be hasty to accept someone's condemnation of another, especially when the accuser may profit from the other's downfall. David should have been skeptical of his comments until he checked them out.
So he just believed.
Yeah.
Rookie mistake. But we're in the soap opera of David. So, and thus said Shimei. I can't call him Shimmy because I feel like he should be doing
Shemai
this.
sounds better.
Shimei. Okay, so
Oh, wow. He was calling him a man of Belial, that's not good.
I was gonna say,
Mhm. and thus said Shimei when he cursed, come out, thou bloody man, and thou man of Belial.
He's calling him basically of the devil.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. The Lord hath returned upon thee all the blood of the house of Saul, in whose stead thou hast reigned.
Yeah, see, he's still ticked off about
Yeah.
Saul.
Yeah, and the Lord hath delivered the kingdom into the hand of Absalom, thy son, and behold, thou art taken into thy mischief, because thou art a bloody man. So he is pointing that finger.
He is.
And see, he's blaming David for the fall of Saul, when he should be blaming Saul himself for his
Yeah.
own demise.
And if you go back to 12:10 and 11, now therefore the sword shall never depart from thine house, because thou
Mhm.
hast despised me, and hast taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife. Thus says the Lord, behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thy own house, and I will take thy wives before thine eyes, and give them unto thy neighbor, and he shall lie with the wives in the sight of his son. For what thou didst secretly, but I will do this thing before all of Israel.
So it's not what happened in the house of Saul that all this is coming down upon David. It's David's own sin with
Mhm.
Bathsheba and specifically killing Uriah.
Reading this story at first, or reading David, I've never thought about that, so I always kind of felt sorry for him. Because it seemed he was very naive at first, but now that I can't have that anymore, because I look at him and I go, you did this to yourself.
I still feel sorry for him to a certain extent.
It's hard for me to.
He had God's grace, because God didn't kill him for what
Yeah.
he did, but that didn't take away the consequences.
The
of David's
epitome
sin.
of you've made your bed, now you must lie in it.
Yeah.
It's hard for me, I'm sorry.
I'm not saying he didn't deserve it.
Well, because we don't ever see the consequences of what our
We don't
sins
think
do
about it,
on
though.
us.
No, we don't.
We
The
just-
veil is it's this, oh, you'll be fine, you got this.
But like Leah says, if we go to sin, you need to say, when is death coming to my door? Because it is going to come if we sin, right? Something's gonna happen. It's gonna bring
What are
death.
gonna be the consequences of what I
Yeah,
do?
if we just ask ourselves.
She wants to say something too.
I know, she does. She's got a lot to say.
We just can't say so we can understand that, right?
She probably wants, you know, something.
She's trying so hard. Okay, so then said Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, unto the king, why should this dead dog curse my lord the king? Let me go over, I pray thee, and take off his head. So Abishai is like, why are you? I think of this the
This makes me
meaning.
think of James. Abishai would be James.
Or Peter.
This guy's not gonna talk smack.
Yeah, Peter's like, I'll take off that ear. I'll be up there with that.
I'm gonna teach
So-
this guy a lesson to disrespect.
So there's this video that Livy sent me, and it's this guy. I watch him a lot. He's a black guy. He talks about food a lot, but he's also a Christian, and sometimes he'll put little Christian snippets into his stuff. And he said, "Why are you letting somebody live rent free in your head and
Yes.
attack you spiritually who ain't even on your level?" And then he smacks the phone and he goes, "Fix it." So you back. So, but that's what I think of, because he's like, why? Why are we letting this man talk?
Well, like David did with Goliath.
Yeah,
He came against Goliath because of the words coming out of Goliath's mouth against God.
yeah. And everybody else was terrified of him.
Yeah.
Why are we letting him talk? Why are we giving him a platform?
Right.
But we do,
Yeah.
for whatever reason. So, and the king said, what have I to do with you, ye sons of Uriah? So let him curse, because the Lord hath said unto him, curse David. Who shall then say, wherefore hast thou done so? So David, instead of doing what most of us would do and tag him in and say, did you ever go for it? Take him out. David is saying, no, this is God telling me I screwed up. This is me being held accountable for my actions. So David knows, he's not oblivious, he's not dumb. He knows that this is happening because of what he did. It's his fault. So, I mean, I do commend him in these moments because it's like, okay, he's not dumb. He is taking accountability for his actions. He is saying, hey, don't shut him up. Don't kill him. There's no point in killing him because he's speaking the truth. Yes, he sounds like a crazy man, but what he is saying, God is saying.
Only it wasn't because of Saul, what David did to Saul, it was because of what
David did.
with Bathsheba and all that. He just had the point of blame a little off, but the words were true.
So, and David said to Abishai and to all his servants, behold, my son, which came forth of my bowels, seeketh my life. How much more now may this Benjamite do it? Let him alone, and let him curse, for the Lord hath bidden him. It may be that the Lord will look on mine affliction, and that the Lord will requite me good for his cursing this day. So, David is saying, there might come a day where God removes his curse, but right now, I'm having to pay for the sins that I've done. And so, and as David and his men went by the way, Shimei went along on the hillside over against him and cursed as he went, and threw stones at him and cast dust. Okay, so, and the king and all the people that were with him came weary and refreshed themselves there. And Absalom and all the people of the men of Israel came to Jerusalem, and Ahithophel with him. So it seems that we've hit another point of the story where David's going, he's in witness protection, so to speak, or trying to be in witness protection. He's running with his tail between his legs. And now we're back in the point of the story. We've gone back to Absalom, where David has his little, Absalom's got his little, he's now in Jerusalem. He's took over Jerusalem. And he's got his posse with him, so to speak. So it says, and it came to pass when Hushai, the Archite, David's friend, was come unto Absalom, that Hushai said unto Absalom, God save the king, God save the king. So here Hushai is trying to get into his good graces so he can be David's spy. So, and Absalom said to Hushai, is this thy kindness to thy friend? Why wentest thou not with thy friend? So it would seem that the wiseness that David had, or still has passed on to Absalom, and he's poking and prodding and saying, hey, where do your loyalties really lie? And Hushai said unto Absalom, nay, but whom the Lord and this people and all of the men of Israel choose, his will I be, and with him I will abide. So Hushai is doing what David told him to do. Lie. Tell him, hey, I'm not with him. I didn't go with him. I chose to be with the one true king of Israel. So he's trying to butter him up. And again, whom shall I serve? Should I not serve in the presence of his son? As I have served in thy father's presence, so will I be in thy presence. Then said Absalom to Ahithophel, give counsel among you what we shall do. And Ahithophel said unto Absalom, go in unto thy father's concubines, which he has left to keep the house, And all Israel shall hear that thou art abhorred by thy father. And then shall the hands of all that are with thee be strong.
Just a little thrown-in note here. Ahithophel, ever how you say it, is Bathsheba's grandfather.
So now
Is he trying to set?
So that explains why Ahithophel is going with Absalom instead of with David, kind of. If he knows what happened.
I could see him going either way. I could see him trying to get in on Absalom's good side. I don't know.
To go
Maybe
against
he
David.
holds it against David, that what he did to her.
Yeah, hard to say.
Yeah, it really is.
And so it begins. More soap opera.
Mine says down here, Absalom thought that his advice was good and followed through with it. Later, however, God made Agag his advice seem foolish, just as David had prayed.
Oh, that's like great foolishness.
Oh, wait a minute, now, yeah.
Is
I
that-
think
Not
that
yet.
was the one that was David's counselor that Absalom called and he went with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
it says in verse 31, Ahithophel is among the conspirators with Absalom, and David said, O Lord, I pray thee turn the counsel of Ahithophel into foolishness.
Yeah.
So he wants the other guy to take his place, right? Hushai.
You know, I'm not trying to toot our own horn here, but we've dissected 2 chapters. Just saying.
We have moved along here.
There's, you know,
But yeah, that does make sense.
names.
His advice there,
confusing.
I'll go into the concubines, was getting back at David because of the thing with Bathsheba.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so in verse 22, so they spread Absalom a tent upon the top of the house, and Absalom went in unto his father's concubines in the sight of all Israel. So he's above the house of David?
He's
Is
on
that
the roof. Says on the roof.
Well, he's in the castle, isn't
above the castle?
he? Well, but I'm saying, that's the roof, yeah.
Remember that you gotta think that they're.
David's house.
Mhm.
So he's going to David's house, they put up a tent on the roof, and Absalom went in and brought the concubines one at a time apparently, or maybe a bunch of them, I don't know.
What was the point of going doing it on the roof, so all the
So
people
that everybody could
see?
see, yeah, that was his advice back there, was so that everyone could see Absalom is taking over David's
Even
spot.
his.
Because here he's in his palace, he's got his women, he's just taking it all over.
But see, it seems, okay, so reading ahead, it says, in the counsel of Ahithophel, which he counseled in those days, was as if a man had inquired at the oracle of God. So was all the counsel of Ahithophel, both with David and with Absalom. So that makes me wonder if Agag, we're calling him Agag because
I like that.
It seems like he played, I want to think of Dirty Harry, but you know, he was what's the dude in the Revolutionary War that flipped?
Benedict John.
Thank you. I looked at John and John didn't answer. But that's what I think. It seems. Did I read that wrong? It seems like he's
totally changed side, you know, okay.
he was all Team David, and then Team David was losing, so he was like, I gotta get on the winning side here. So he flips and goes to Team Absalom.
Because there's so much stuff that we're not told. It's like Has he always had this in his heart against David because of his granddaughter?
Mm-hmm.
Or is he just covering his own bases with who's the king at the moment?
Yeah, because he just wants to make it out alive.
You just really kind of don't know. You know? But
Okay.
it talks about, behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thy own house, and I will even take thy wives before thine eyes, and give them unto thy neighbor, and he shall lie with thy wives in the sight of the sun.
Yeah.
S-U-N. Son.
So
And I will do this thing before all of Israel.
Absalom doing it, pulling all the concubines and sitting on top of the roof. God said that would come to pass.
Yeah.
He
So,
said it would be done.
did God put that in Absalom to do that?
Yeah.
Did he put it in Agag's mind to promote that?
Yes, he was using him to get, or he wanted.
Well,
Really
this is conjecture.
Maybe
I mean,
it was
it's
from God, his
Yeah,
advice
because
there.
I'm not sure where that's at, but yeah, because that's what God said.
God said he advised.
And when you back there, when you're reading it, I didn't think about it being in the sight of the
Right.
Son. And all these things he'll do before Israel.
Okay, so when Leah comes back next Sunday, there's going to be a test.
Oh no!
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I know we're all screwed at that point.
There probably will be a test.
I know, right?
Verbal.
Are
There'll
we
be a
allowed
verbal.
to cheat?
Could fight amongst one another.
I call sit next to Teresa. Or get her. We can have an open book.
So where are we stopping at?
We are stopping at 17:1.
Yep.
Okay.
But now she's probably next week going to come back and do a more of a
Review.
deep dive.
Then will be the test.
You're going to get a day reprieve, and then
That will be.
there'll be a test. So